everyone, this is Loruna Softpaw, and welcome back to the Fortress of Crowdkitchens. Right, so last time we carved out a nice storage pile for ourselves over here, and we started crafting some beds, and I would like to take this opportunity now to take a look at our dwarves. You know, get to know them a little personally, and maybe bestow some nicknames. So, one thing I want to point out is that dwarves tend to have a pretty consistent appearance within the same civilization. So basically, they're like different ethnic groups. Skin, eye, sometimes hair color will pretty much be the same amongst the dwarves in your fortress. So, let's use our expedition leader here as an example. He's tall and muscular. His short sideburns are neatly combed. His medium-length mustache is neatly combed. His very long beard is braided. His very long hair is tied in a ponytail. His ears are very splayed out. His ochre eyes are sunken. His teeth are crowded. His somewhat long nose is slightly upturned. His hair is golden yellow. His skin is raw umber. Okay, so based on that description, our dwarves are going to have light hair, dark skin, and ochre eyes, which is kind of like an orange color. And let's just take a look at his personality traits. You know, for our brave leader, see where his head is at. He personally values cunning, and he dreams of mastering a skill. Alright, that sounds good. He lives at a slow-going pace and leisurely pace. He is often sad and dejected. He is very ambitious, always looking for a way to better his situation. He tends to assume the worst of two outcomes will be the one that likely comes to pass. He has little interest in joking around. He has an active imagination. He takes offered help and gifts without feeling particularly grateful. He often feels lustful. Okay. When he's thinking, he clicks his tongue repeatedly. He needs alcohol to get through the working day. He likes working outdoors and grumbles only mildly at inclement weather. Now that sentence right there, he needs alcohol to get through the working day, that's going to be on every personality description for these dwarves. All the dwarves are naturally alcoholics, even the kids. But biology doesn't make it as harmful as alcoholism in humans. They work more efficiently and they receive hydration from it. They don't need water if they got enough alcohol. And alcohol poisoning is just not a thing. Just not a problem at all. And we're gonna need a water source eventually because sick and injured dwarves can't have alcohol, but we shouldn't run into any trouble just yet, so we can get away without a water source for now. Anyway, our expedition leader Tith is a pretty pessimistic guy. If you start your dwarves off with social skills, which is something I never do, then the expedition leader is going to be the one who's the most liked. If you're like me, then they're going to be picked at random. I think. Seemingly. Once our population reaches 50 dwarves, the expedition leader will be replaced by a democratically elected mayor. Probably by Cost, our necromancer, because, well, people like him more. I've never had the mayor be one of my starting 7, just because I never give them starting off social skills. It's always somebody else who comes in. That the game randomly generated their skills. So I'm gonna give some nicknames to our most notable dwarves with names I can't pronounce. Cost and Tith are fine, but I'm gonna want to replace the names of a few of our dwarves, like the peasant Itufdem here. I'm gonna make her our mechanic, which is a pretty important job, so we're gonna be referring to her a lot. Let's see. She has a jutting chin. Her very long hair is braided. Her nose bridge is convex. Her teeth are crowded. Her ears are very short. Her head is somewhat broad, her hair is charcoal with a touch of gray. Her skin is raw umber, and her eyes are ochre. Okay, I just wanted to get the description out to show the similarities to the expedition leader. It looks like hair color among these dwarves will be pretty varied, but skin and eyes should stay relatively consistent. Okay, so she personally finds the ideas of independence and freedom somewhat foolish, finds the pursuit of knowledge to be a waste of effort, and doesn't feel strongly about the law. She dreams about raising a family. Aw. She could not care less about her appearance, talents, or other personal vanities. She enjoys the company of others. She could be considered rude, but is somewhat uncomfortable around those that appear unusual or live differently from herself. Alright, she tends to not be swayed by emotional appeals. She doesn't handle stress well. Uh-oh. She's generally quite confident of her abilities when undertaking specific ventures. She tends to hang on to grievances, and she needs alcohol to get through the working day. I told you. So, nothing really stands out to me here as nicknamed material. So what about her likes and dislikes? Let's see. Mica, truffle pewter, jasper, clear glass, coyote leather, crossbows, bracelets, the words of the questionable diagnoser, which is, I guess, a book, the sound of the rhythmic finger melee grain, which is probably music, and the sight of Simo's hopper, which is probably a dance. I think I'm gonna call her Hopper. Yeah, that's cute. Why not? Now, let's take a look at our woodworker, who will be making a lot of important stuff for us, like beds. I won't go full into her personality this time, but she personally values hard work and dreams of mastering a skill, which she's well on her way to doing as a resident carpenter. Let's see, borax? Weird. Black bronze, pyrite, blah blah blah. Says here she enjoys the sound of something called the coffee cherry of emergrains. And cherry wood is a material she'll be working with a lot, so let's call her Cherry. That's cute. You know, may as well give our dwarf some cute names when we want to. And let's give a nickname to the gem cutter too. Why not? Alright. Well, it says here her hair is amber, and she works with gemstones, so let's call her Amber. And last but not least, I want to name our broker. Claystone Billin? Is that how you pronounce it? Aquamarine. Breastplates. Giant 2-humped camels for their hump. Let's call them Camel. Why not? And I think that's going to be it for now. I'll name more later as I see fit to give nicknames. So let's get back to business. Okay, I'll build that jeweler's workshop so that Amber can get started on cutting gems. And autumn has come. The trade caravans will be here soon. Hurry up, Amber, we need those gems cut now. And I'll build a crafting workshop and a mechanics workshop too for Hopper. Let's also build and assign more beds since we have plenty now. And I'm also going to build a nice big dining hall for our dwarves up here. This is going to be our meeting hall later, and our tavern. That's a good 30 by 20 space. So while our miners dig this out, I want to go off on a tangent for a second. I was reading a page on the wiki recently, and someone lumped in gem cutting as a useless profession alongside cheesemakers. Do you guys, like, not make cheese? Or cut gems for trade? I guess it depends on your playstyle, but I think you can make an argument for any profession having its uses. Like, I used to think that gelding was the most useful profession. Like, I get why it exists, because some people just don't want their animals breeding all the time, like the famous cat explosions I've heard so much about in earlier versions. But why couldn't it just fall under a general labor? Like, why does it need its own profession? Well, I found out that the high skill in gelding lowers the chances of a gelder getting injured. Because there's one big thing to realize about this game. If it can be a game mechanic, then it will be a game mechanic. Including animals getting pissed about being gelded. Also, gelders in combat can perform a gelding shot on their enemies, which is a ton of fun. I usually use the gelders as military fodder anyway. So, you know, that's a nice benefit there. But, let's stop talking about gelding, and I forgot to assign Hopper the mechanics labor. Once that's built, I'll have her making rock mechanisms on repeats. I always need rock mechanisms, because I set lots of traps. Mostly cage traps, because they're easy to build. Now I think I'm gonna have Cherry stop making beds and start making bins. We need bins to help store all this cloth and all these gems and stuff. It just makes managing your stockpiles so much easier when you have lots of bins. Do I have a kitchen and still set up? Yep, I do. I'm gonna start getting someone to brew plants into alcohol, because like I said, our dwarves really need alcohol, especially without a water supply. And, oh! Trade caravans have arrived. Let's deal with that in just a second. Oh yeah, so in this space, I was thinking of building a cool tower or something. I always think about digging down in this game, but what about building up? We need defenses for the staircase anyway, so why not? I'll think of something cool to put here. We could at least put some doors here for now. Unless trolls show up, it shouldn't be an issue. And one other thing that I want to start is digging down. I'm gonna build a bunch of up-down staircases here. And then we'll eventually branch off into a different hallway, and so then if we hit a cavern, then it won't be connected to the main stairway, because having to wall this part off would just be such a pain. And, alright. Caravan is unloading their goods now. So, let's start getting some goods hauled over there. I don't really want to give away any of my plants or my alcohol, because we kind of need those right now. We can give away the gems we have cut, but I think that's gonna be about it. Really don't have much to trade yet. This is all we can spare for the moment. I am your liaison from the mountain home. Let's discuss your situation. So this person is from the capital of our civilization, and they bring us news and rumors from around the map, and we'll check those out later. They also negotiate with us what we'll need for the next caravan trade, so that's just what we're gonna do right now. And it's super useful. Alright, I'm going to ask for some leather, because we don't have a hunter yet. And I also ask for cloth, usually, especially plant and silk cloth. We don't need any metal bars yet, because we have a lot of iron right here. Seeds, definitely plump helmet spawn. I also like to keep pigtail seeds growing when I can, because you can do a lot with pigtails. We don't need any weapons yet. I'm not going to ask for clothing yet either, because we can't really afford it. And pets, let's take some alpacas, cows, and bulls for milk, and I think that will do. Let's get some drinks. We won't ask for specific meats, since they always bring meats. But we will ask for pond turtles, because we want their shells. And I'll explain another time, but if you don't have shells in your fort, then your dwarves have a chance to get, let's just say very unhappy. Always ask for plump helmets, of course. Won't ask for specific garden veggies, because again, they always bring some every year. But we'll take some thread, some charcoal, ash, and coke, so I don't have to burn up my wood supply for it. And lastly, we'll ask for some animal-based cloth, just to have a nice variety. Okay, now they're gonna tell us what they want for next year, so, they really want backpacks, splints, scepters, blocks, and legwear. Splints, scepters, and blocks are easy to make, so we'll have at least some of the stuff ready for them. And we're good to go. See you next year. Here come the dwarves hauling up our gems to trade. We have to wait for Camel, but here he comes. Before we do that, let's take a look at our liaison and see what she's all about. We can find them in our units under the Others tab, but we can only get their appearance if they're not a resident. The first part's just a general description on every dwarf's page. Her hair is wavy, her very long hair is braided, she's thin, her ochre eyes are sunken, her nose is slightly upturned, her lips are thin, her eyebrows are somewhat high. Her hair is gray with flecks of burnt sienna. Her skin is raw umber. And if we want more than this, then she has to live here with our monarch by making this place the capital. And it's really not worth it. Like, nobles are just such a pain. Especially the monarch, like, just don't bother. So, let's get to trading. Oh, yikes. Cut rock crystals are just 10 each, huh? Okay, good thing we don't need a whole lot, because we can't buy a whole lot with this. I don't know what the currency in this game is called, so just bear with me. All this stuff is too expensive, so let's just scroll down to the meats. Okay, let's get some pond turtles for the reasons I hinted at earlier. And we'll get some cheap meats. And that should do it. Trader makes 20 in profit. 20 whatever's in profit. Whatever that is. Yeah, that's it for now. The next thing that I want to do quick is designate the carved out dining hall into a meeting area. We do that by using the zoning tool. And so we set that with the meeting area. So we set it up to cover this space, and then we set it to meeting area by hitting M. And this is going to keep our dwarves from gathering at the wagon outside. I want them mostly inside. And and then we can go out and destroy the wagons since, you know, we don't really need it anymore, and we can use it for wood. Alright, then we're gonna have another zoning area to the pen. Alright, then we're gonna set another zoning area to pen the livestock. Make the zone, set to pasture, select the animals. I would really like to make an indoor pasture at some point, but we have to find dirt to dig out first, and all there seems to be here is rock, at least underground. Before we go looking for dirt though, I want to find the underground cavern first, because once we find that, it'll make mushrooms grow inside and our animals can feed on that, like as grazing. So let's make those stairs and hallway I mentioned, and let's start constructing tables and chairs for the meeting hall too. 5 and 5 from now. And why is that mechanic shop not built yet? I have mechanics turned on for Hopper, right? Yeah, I do. Come on, let's get it built. Oh, some migrants have arrived. Somewhere. There's our clearing, and I don't see any filing in yet. Let's check them out on our units page. We have a woodcrafter, a cook, a peasant, and ooh, a metalsmith. And that reminds me, we should start getting a metals industry up and running with all this hematite lying around, and look into nicknames in just a sec. Okay, the underground hallway's carved out now. Let's start drilling down here and see if we hit a cave. Now we'll take a look at this woodcrafter. It says here she likes rose gold, so how about rose? And this metalsmith is going to be really useful. The explicable riddle is something I've seen come up for other dwarves too, but I'll just name him Riddle because I can't really think of anything else. Alright, we have a bunch of unassigned beds, so let's get those assigned. We have the miners finished. Alright, let's give it a few more levels, and oh, there we go. You've discovered an expansive cavern deep underground. Okay, let's cancel those mining designations and wall off this staircase. Then we'll dig a new shaft next to it, and that will open up into a safer area, just like that. So now let's build the wall, and ugh, you dummy! Dwarves can be really dumb sometimes. Like, they'll trap themselves on the wrong side of the wall. Now we gotta wait for them to finish breaking the wall, and we'll build a new one out of basalt. Because if they use that granite rock there, then they'll just get themselves stuck again. It's such a pain. Okay, I think it's time to start digging out some dirt to create our indoor farms. The cave is open, so we can make a pasture too. Let's start from the dirt over by the entrance. I'll build a hallway that we can seal with a bridge like this, just in case trouble comes, and then a stairway down to the main halls over here. And here come the miners. Oh, dang it! They hit rock. That's not what I want. Okay, then why not go up this way and over? We could just use this hallway as like a trap hallway. Dang it! More freaking rocks! Ugh. Okay, how about we go down this way? And we'll just cancel this hallway. Ugh, rocks again! I swear I literally never had this problem before. I'm seriously frustrated. Okay, let's stop looking for dirt and then take a look at our new dwarf stats. Oh wow. Metalsmith actually came in with a bunch of smithing skills. That's pretty cool. What should we do with this peasant? I don't know yet, but I'm looking at combat skills, and we have quite a few spear dwarves here. Fortunately, if we ever face the undead, we want to have mace dwarves and hammer dwarves. Because if you cut up zombies, then all of its limbs can attack you, so you have to beat them to a pulp instead. As far as social skills go, it looks like Kost is still the most likely candidate for mayor, although he may have some competition. We still gotta fill up the fort a little more. And anybody could come in and take his place as the most charismatic dwarf. I think I'll make the peasant a furnace operator so we can get metal bars smelted, and looks like Kost has some stress. Not too much, but we don't want it to build up. Let's see what his problem is. Okay, so he wants to pray to these gods, Notorshazut, Cassava Root Caves, the Dark Blue Serpentine, and the Rancid? Okay, I can go into his relationships page and see who these gods are because I'm curious. Okay, I think the rancid is this one here, Fotier? Yep. The rancid is a deity of the Helm of Whips, which is our civilization. The rancid most often takes the form of a male dwarf and is associated with death, disease, deformity, and jealousy. Well, that makes sense for a necromancer to worship a god of death. All of these entries here are notable things that either the god or its followers have done. They're not super interesting, mostly. This other one, Notorishazut Cassava Root Caves, the Dark Blue Serpentine, which is quite a name, is another deity of the Helm of Whips. Notorishazut most often takes the form of a female dwarf and is associated with jewels and minerals. So that's cool, he likes bling. This one isn't as active as the rancid. There's only one entry here, which she was only kind of somewhat related to some covert ops somewhere. You know, lots of names that don't really mean much to me, although we could get some spies at our fort someday. That'll be cool. Have some spies to deal with. That was in a pretty recent update. But before we do anything else, let's just gather some plants because I want to brew more booze. There are a bunch up on this level, so I'm gonna have the cook. There are a bunch up on this level, so I'll have somebody come out and get those. I'm also gonna have the cook make some meals with the meat we just got and set up those tables and chairs that Cherry made in the dining hall. So, I guess my next big project will be to carve out some temples. I'd like to put them under the bedrooms here, and I'll also carve out a hallway in this direction, and this is where I'm going to put the library. I also like to have the tombs on this level, but I really don't expect too many dead dwarves yet. Hopefully. You never know with this game. Okay, I'm going to carve out a bunch of 10 by 10 cells like this, all along the hallway here, and if you don't give your dwarves places to worship, then they get super moody, and we just don't want that, so we're just gonna build them now. Okay, while the miners are carving those out, let's start building some altars. I'm gonna rearrange the laborers here a bit to get the best productivity out of these dwarves. And I like to make the altars out of rock. Ugh, why isn't the mechanics workshop still not done? Seriously? Hammer's doing good on those gemstones. I think we just hit more. Ooh, pretty purple gems. Also, I forgot to designate the dining room area. Let's put some doors up like this, and then designate from the table to fill the room. And then we would just press H to make it a meeting hall, and there we go. We'll add more tables and chairs later. Let's get some more alcohol brewing now that we probably have more plants. And let's mine out those gems so Amber can start cutting them, and have Cherry make more tables and chairs. After that, we'll make some more beds because we're starting to run out. Although we're not going to get any migrants over the winter. That just doesn't really happen. Okay, so the temples are carved out. Let's start putting down some altars. Okay, there we go. Now we can designate these places with the zoning tool. And we can make them specific meeting places, and this is how you create libraries, taverns, and temples. So, the Rancid has 4 worshippers living here. And some gods have, like, different religious sects. That word. You can set up, and you can set those up in your temple areas. And this god, lasts with the persistence of something cut off, is the most popular god here, and has this temple, the Victorious Rays, with 3 followers. And these things can get like priesthoods and things, and it's just a nice mechanic to have, I think. So I'm just gonna set it up right here, and then I'll make a more general temple for that god over here, and then I'll make one for the Rancid, of course. And how about Bowl and Flicker Firelight? Dwarves like that one too. And that other god that Cost worships also needs a temple. And how about this god of fortunes and this other god of gambling? Okay, that'll do. And when the miners are finished, we'll add some more. Oh, we have a visitor. Baron Consort, which is someone who is married to a baron somewhere in another fortress. Let's see, we can find them through the units tab. looks like a dwarf. And there he is. We have to let him come inside to see what he's up to. Meanwhile, let's keep looking for some dirt. We need those farms. Let's dig out this way and start from there. The miners will get up here once the temples are finished. And here they come. Yes! Yes, we finally have dirt. Thank God. We'll make our farms right here. Okay, let's see what the Baron Consort is doing real quick. As you can see, a couple dwarves have worship under the job tab, so temples are being used. Here he is. The visitor has come to pray at the Foggy Idol. He was curious about the Foggy Idol. Lasp, the persistence of keynotes, is pleased. Well, that's good. You want deities to be pleased, because you get werebeasts and vampires if they're not pleased. And those pretty purple gems are mined out, so let's have Amber cut those now. And up here we'll start designating our farms like this. Ah, yes, look at all that dirt. No more rocks. That was seriously so irritating. The dwarves have filed into the temples. That's good. And okay, seriously, what's going on with this mechanics workshop? Oh, it was suspended. Why was it suspended? Unsuspended. Okay, hopefully that gets built now. Anytime now, dwarves. And we had Cherries building barrels for alcohol, but now let's get her making bins again, because we don't really have enough. Oh, Amber just ran out of Alexandrite. Can we get some more? There's some. We'll mine that out. Put her back on rock crystals, and we'll stop making altars. Now let's make mugs. Holy crap, I totally forgot about the mugs. Oh, those are so important. No wonder the dwarves are so cranky. They're trying to drink alcohol without any mugs. Now that the farms areas are done, they're filling in with mushroom spots, and we can either gather the plants that grow on them. So now we're gonna set up a new pasture, put our animals in there. Should be enough for them to graze. Now we'll build some farm plots to grow stuff, and a farmer's workshop to make animals, to milk animals, and other stuff like that. Uh-oh, you was starving. It's a named pet, and I can't find it. What's its name? Sibabish? Okay, let's put her in the pen so she can graze. She'll be fine. Here they all come now. Oh, haha. Cherry made a masterpiece cherrywood bin. Congrats! Okay, the mechanics workshop is still not built. How about we just remove it and designate it out there again? I think that should work. The last thing we do for this video, let's just take a look at the news and rumors that the Liaison brought us. We go to the world map screen here, and there's our fort. Then we hit the news and rumors key, and there are a few things going on here. In 406, Bug Quaffable Beld was kidnapped. Oh, jeez. Okay, so goblins in this game will sometimes send kidnappers to steal your children, and then they raise them in goblin culture and be soldiers, and like they'll show up at your fort when they're adults and with the goblin armies. And I've never actually had kidnappers at my fort before, but it looks like they're active around here. So we gotta be careful with our kids. What else? In the early spring of 407, perpetrator Reject became Holy Armadillo of the Fellowship of Giant Tortoises, replacing Nagust Banded Waistlines. Yeah, one other thing about this game is that a whole lot of stories and events are just kind of jumbles of random names, and they don't really mean a whole lot to you, but we can infer a priest of some church was replaced. And over here, in the early spring of 407, Obina Loptgland became expedition leader of the Lace of Trickling. Interestingly, that's interesting. That means a new dwarven settlement went up over there. It also says that they reclaimed something called jeweled predictabilities. And reclaiming means that they took over an existing site that was abandoned. And you can actually do that from the embark screen. Maybe we should do it sometime. Down here, we have a whole bunch of power exchanges and some churches at this fort. Not super interesting. And next door, a new mayor got elected. trying to find where these expeditionists came from, but I don't see any dwarven sieves down here. Okay. Let's just take a look at some of our neighbors while we're on the screen. A monastery with a bunch of books. That's cool. A really small human hamlet who are our allies. We'll see them in the summer when they come to trade. Human town of disabled source. Okay. And a human hamlet of bisexuality crises. There are 10 bisexuals here, and it says they're skirmishing? With who? Marciv? Gosh dang it. Leave those bisexuals alone. They're in crisis. There are a couple other skirmishing humans down here, and not a whole lot else. And I'm gonna tell Cherry to make more tables and chairs, and with that, I'm gonna end the episode. Thank you so much for watching the second expedition into the Fortress of Crowdkitchens, and I will talk to you again soon. See ya!